Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie from the Farmhouse Mom, and in this video I'm going to share with you all the work that we got done on our garden this weekend. We also had a brand new baby goat on Friday. We had one girl and she's so cute. I can't wait to show her to you. It has been quite windy here, but it has been so warm. So I knew this weekend that I wanted to get started on our garden. The last 3 or 4 years, we have had, I would say, like very amateur style gardens because we start out very strong and then we always end very weak. So it kind of seems like in the middle of the summertime, everything just gets so busy and weeds kind of take over and our garden just turns to a mess. And so I knew this year I really wanted to do things properly this year, lay down weed barrier. So my husband and I have been working very hard the last year or two to be debt free. And so we are on a budget for most of our household. We live on a farm and we do have an old barn, so that is helpful for us because we can pull out wood and make raised beds. We also had some of this weed barrier from last year. The last time my husband went to Sam's Club, he got a ton of cardboard, and so that is a free item that we are going to be using to start a lavender area. I'm really excited about that. We didn't have time to do it this weekend. We probably will be doing it next weekend, but we also have access to tons of rock. We have a beautiful spring-fed creek. We actually have several little creeks that intertwine with each other, and I would say half of our driveway usually ends up in our creek. So I wouldn't say this rock is free because it gets washed down, but all kidding aside, we do have a beautiful little creek and it is all along the front of our property. So we have lots of rock if we are willing to go out there and pick it up. So that is the beauty of living with 3 men, is they love to be outside and work hard. So my 14, soon to be 15-year-old, and my husband worked very hard the whole day going down to the creek, getting rock, and then we set it on top of the weed barrier. This is just our first layer of rock. As you can see, there's quite a few big rocks in there that can easily be picked up, and then we're going to place those along the edge. And we also have different parts in our creek where we have access to more of a sand type area, so we will be getting that kind of from the banks and filling it out. I also found this beautiful cornerstone for my garden. My son and I actually found it last year and picked it up out of the creek and forgot about it, and the weeds grew up around it. So we grabbed it and brought it up to place in the garden. I thought you guys might like an update on our babies. Everybody is 8 weeks old now. So we have sold a couple of girls and boys and we are down to 8 now. And I'm probably going to keep 3 or 4 of them. These are the 2 that I'm going to keep for sure. But everybody's healthy, doing very well. We've had no pneumonia over the winter time. My little mouser Ted was out there doing his job while I was visiting the girls. He caught himself a mouse. The more mice he can catch, the more they stay out of my grain. And this is my new little girl. What do you guys think? Is she not a beauty? She has beautiful blue eyes and lots of little spots on her called moon spots. Now, that doesn't mean she's a great goat. That just means she's very beautiful. However, she does have an excellent pedigree. Her mother is my best milker on the farm, so I'm definitely going to be keeping her. She's such a wonderful little girl. I was hoping that she would have at least 2, that her mommy would have at least 2, so she wouldn't be lonely, but it's just 1 for now, and then I have 4 more goats that will be kidding by the end of this month. So I make sure to spend lots of time with her so she's not alone, and she will be joined very quickly by some new boys and girls. And of course, Rosie is always very interested whenever there is a new baby born on the farm. She always wants to try to get in the little nursery to get at those little babies. I love spring on the farm. Not only is it so joyous with the new life that comes from the goats, you also get to see your old friends from the year before. My hydrangeas are coming in very nicely. I've got some irises that are popping up. Our ferns inside our forest area are growing, and then also our daffodils are starting to get little flower heads. We have quite a few natural springs on the farm. And so I was trying to show you some of those, and every time I would go, Rosie loves the creek just as much as I do, and so I was trying to get a clear water shot for you, and she just couldn't help herself. She's such a menace. She has to be right in that water trying to catch anything that she can. Here is the front of our property, and you can see where the creek cuts through, dividing it by the driveway. And this does not look like much, however, this is a gorgeous elderberry patch. I'm very fortunate. I have 4 patches of elderberries already on the farm, and last year, thanks to the birds, they created about 5 more patches for me. So I made elderberry juice last year, and I'm really looking forward to the season of elderberries and mulberries and all the beautiful natural fruits on the farm. I am so fortunate that we are able to raise the boys on the farm. I think it's so good for them, especially boys, to get out there and play and work to exhaustion. I am a pretty strict mom. My boys do not have phones, tablets, computers, and we only really watch TV if they happen to be sick or in the evenings with their dad. I saw an interview by Joanna Gaines, and she said her children do not have smartphones until they are 18, the year between high school and college, and then she gives it to them. And so that made me feel really good. So if you're raising children and you're concerned if they have too much technology, just know that there are other people out there that do not let their kids have technology. It is so terrible for their growing brains. And so it made me feel good to know that other people did that, and hopefully that gives you a little encouragement if you're concerned about that as well. So while the boys were down at the creek finishing getting all of the rest of the rock for this weekend, I planted some lavender seeds in this first bed. So last year I just threw them into the ground by the front porch, and they did very, very well. And so I'm going to take the opportunity to start them in this bed, and then as soon as they get big enough, we're going to transplant them down in the field by the creek, and we're going to start a lavender farm. It'll take a couple years to get it going, but I'm really excited. This has been my dream for a long time, and so it's just like a little seed has been planted. I planted my little seeds this weekend, and I hope it turns into just a beautiful place. I did put some old windows we had in the barn, and I put them over the soil just so they could stay nice and warm, and it is only the middle of March, and so the likelihood that we're going to get some frost and some freezing weather is very, very good. And so I think this will be warm enough to protect them and to get those seedlings going and nice and safe. I always start seeds inside, and I never take the time or patience to harden them off correctly. So I'm doing things the way that work for me and the way that I know will be successful. Our strawberry bed from last year did really well over the winter. I cleaned off all the mulch and gave it a nice watering, and it was starting to look so green and so pretty. So here are the first 3 raised beds of our garden. It's not glamorous, it's quite humble, but when spring and summer is here, it is going to be so green and so beautiful, and I love that you can see it right out the dining room window, and it's going to be so nice to have a beautiful garden going again. After we worked hard planting our garden, we went out on the front porch and we had a little time with our little baby girl. I named her Cassandra in honor of my sister. She was born on my sister's birthday, and she's such a sweet little girl. I also, if you watched my video from last Friday, I got a ton of free seeds from some thrift stores. I also had got free seeds last year that I didn't even put to use. So I have hundreds and hundreds of packets of bee balm. So I sat out on the front porch with my little baby goat for a few hours, and I cut open all of these bee balm packages and just put them in a cup. So as soon as the last frost is upon us, then I'm going to direct sow them all over our farm. In our second garden bed, I'm going to start some lettuce, cabbage, and onions right away. And again, if you saw my video from last Friday, I thrifted this little scoop for 25 cents, and I found the perfect spot for it right by the window, by the garden, and I can set seeds there that I want to plant. It'll be such a great little reminder. It was kind of hard to see, so I lowered the shades so you could see it a little bit better, but how cute is that little scoop? I can't wait to see you guys on Friday for another episode of Friday Finds. Have a great week.